Yo, everybody, it's the King of Philly, the Blk Jeez. And if y'all not listening to the Hot Tag podcast, man, y'all need to step your game up. Check it out. You some good dudes, man. And they have us on the show to tell us like it is. THT website. THT is the website, the Hot Tag podcast, and that's what it is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is Tuesday, 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time, THTpodcast.com. Today we have a special guest. We have the CZW World Heavyweight Champion, Blk Jeez, on the show from Blackout. How's it going, man?
Chilling, man. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Excited to have somebody from Philly on the show, man. Philly got to support Philly. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. But let's start off with early on in your career. You debuted in 2000, and you came in as Sabian. What made you change your name to Blk Jeez from Sabian?
I was tired of the name, really, and then around the time that I was ready to change it, like commentators were butchering the name. They would call me Saban. They would say Saban a lot. And,
yeah.
you know, it was always, Chris Saban was always on the scene. So I was getting tired of, like, my name getting butchered. But then also, man, I just wanted to change it. Saban, it just didn't really sound right to me no more. So I was using the Blk Jeez as a nickname. Blk Jeez is Saban. So then I just shortened it to Blk Jeez, and I just went with Blk Jeez. And, you know what I'm saying? To me, that sounds better. It's more marketable. It just fits my personality more than using Sabian. That's pretty much it.
Good move. But you made Blackout with Ruckus in 2004, and you guys actually beat the Hate Club, which is hopefully they're coming back soon. But the same night for the titles. What do you think of Nick Gage and him coming back to CZW? Hopefully.
Man, I think it's good, man. Gage is a CZW original. Gage got legendary status in CZW and on the Indies. I think it's perfect that he out now, man, and like everybody's gonna be wanting to use him right now, rightfully so, man. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Looking forward to getting in the ring with him. We got like a long history, man. Been in the ring with him a bunch of times, man. So it's nothing but good things about Nick Gage being out right now.
Man, over a decade, man. Eddie Kingston, he was also a part of Blackout for a little while, and you guys, he was in Jersey All Pro, CZW, Chikara, and you guys traveled, I'm sure. Any memories of Eddie Kingston, and do you guys still keep in touch with each other?
Yeah. Well, I talk to Eddie a lot, man. Eddie is my dog. Like when you're in wrestling, man, you can only really like count your real true friends that you're going to keep in touch with when you stop wrestling. And like Eddie is definitely one of those dudes. Eddie's still doing his thing, man. Like personally, I think Eddie should be on TV right now, making millions of dollars, man. He's that talented. Like Eddie is a good dude, man. Like one of the best promo guys out there, one of the best sellers, man. One of the best character guys, man. Like it's not a lot of people on the Indies right now that can make people believe that what's going on could be real. You know what I'm saying? And Eddie is one of those people.
Right. Another person that actually joined Blackout briefly was Jack Evans. How was Jack Evans? That was kind of random. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember around the time like, we was feuding with Team Cash and we needed somebody for the team. I think Jack we ended up just getting lucky and Jack was available. So they put us on our team. I know that had a lot to do with Joker not being there because Joker was away in Iraq at the time. So we needed somebody to be on the team to fill in that cage of death. So that's how that came about. Jack is a good dude. I don't really know him all that well, but every time I was around him, it's pretty cool. But that's my song was like a few years back at Jersey All Pro. I ain't seen him in a minute. Yeah.
Now, speaking of Jersey All Pro, I actually saw you wrestle Israel. I think was it Israel? Azrael. There you go. That was his comeback, right? He hadn't been wrestling for a couple of years.
Yeah, say it again.
I said, I guess that was his comeback. He didn't wrestle for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, he took time off. Azrael, he's been wrestling for a number of years, man, without taking a break. So sometimes, man, when you've been doing this for a long time, man, you get burnt out. And you just gotta take a step back for a little while. So that's what Az did. And that was his first weekend back in the game, man. We had a good time.
Yeah, I remember him and Bandino Jr. used to be in Jersey All Pro in like, the late 90s and early 2000s, but kind of just dropped off the face of the earth. So it was good seeing him back, and you guys had a nice stiff match. And Jersey All Pro, man, I'm all for it. I'm glad they're back. So hopefully we're gonna see you on there again.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm glad Jersey All Pro is back too. Like whenever they do come back, man, they always have good shows, man. Like they can take a break and then come back and they just come back and kill it like they never left.
Yeah, it's like
times of Jersey All Pro.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the Jersey version of ECW,
Yeah,
it definitely.
Yeah,
it definitely reminds me. Like the crowd is the same type of crowd, and I'm from Philly, so I lived in South Philly at the time when ECW was around, so I'd be at all the shows as a kid and all that stuff, and I remember it. And going back to Rahway and at the last show, it kind of just reminded me of like the old ECW. And as much as I love House of Hardcore, and I know you were a part of Extreme Rise, and I was at those shows. Those crowds still weren't just like the house, like the old ECW. But I think the Jersey All Pro show, that was probably one of the closest ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Boxman, you got a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about in 2012 working with Ryback in that match that you guys had.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was cool. It was cool. Like, and like I know, like people, like give Ryback a lot of grief saying that he unsafe and all that, but the dude was real professional. The dude was safe. Now everything that he did was safe. Like I had a good experience with him. You know what I'm saying? It was all good.
Yeah, I saw on your YouTube channel someone had kind of made some references that he wasn't safe in the ring, and you quickly corrected him. I saw that.
Yeah, because you know how some fans are, man. Somebody like one of the boys will talk about Ryback or anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because they might have had a bad experience. So then a fan will chime in and just try to jump on the bandwagon and say those things, man. And when I saw it, you know what I'm saying, I was like, man, like I had a good experience with the dude. The dude not unprofessional. The dude is safe. So I just had to let dude know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's only right.
I would probably take it from the guy who's been in the ring with him than some guy behind his keyboard.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's the thing. Like a lot of fans, man, they just talk like they in it. And I don't get it, man. It's just one of those things we deal with every day. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
You guys had a long feud with the Briscoes, and the most recently, I think it was like 2 years ago. It was at I think their December show, Extreme Rise, and they brought in the Briscoes from Ring of Honor, and you guys had like a 3-way with Los Dramaticos, I think Los Dramaticos, whatever their name was. But that was a brutal match, man. I remember that you guys came in the crowd. I almost got the shit knocked out of me because you guys were swinging fucking chairs. So it was a good time. But what do you think of working with the Briscoes? Because I hear they're going to the WWE soon. Of course, that's allegedly. We don't know. We're not in the business. But I definitely think you guys had some of the best matches. Blackout against Briscoes. That was a hot feud in the 2000s.
Yeah, man. To the Briscoes, man. Like this the thing, man. Like I enjoy getting in there with people that know what they're doing, and they, you know what I'm saying, and they unselfish, and they just love it. Like the Briscoes, like it's always a night off wrestling the Briscoes, man, because like we all came up around the same time, and you know what I'm saying, we all just got a love for the game, and we just go out there to get the people their money's worth. So anytime we in there with them, it's like that stuff always happens, man. I remember that match, man. That match was crazy. I loved it. Like it's that's what happens when we in there with the Briscoes, man. Briscoes are good. And we just got that chemistry, and we just kill it every time.
Yeah. No, kind of a segue to the next question. Extreme Rising. How was the locker room? Because I remember the first show you guys were on there against Mustafa and New Jack, the original Gangsters, and that show was not necessarily your match, but that show was just horrible, and that's everybody's admitted it. But how was the locker room at that time, and did it change over the next couple of shows?
I mean, the locker room was like, it wasn't any different from any other locker room. It wasn't, it was the same as any other locker room. Like, things was cool. I think the problem with Extreme Rising was the person that ran it, like, he wanted to run things just his way and didn't want to take advice from anybody else that has a wrestling mind. Like the dude Steve O'Neill. Like he's not necessarily a wrestling guy. So when other guys that have a wrestling mind will try to give him advice, it's like he just wanted to run things his way and no other way. So when that happens, man, things little by little just fall apart, and that's what happened with Extreme Rising. It fell apart. Like I think like Extreme Rising, they did have a good thing going if they were to change some things. Like I know, like in the beginning, they told all of us that the concept was this. The concept was for like all of the ECW guys to put over all of the indie guys that was there. And like the idea was to make the indie guys be the next ECW guy. Like they had Blackout as like the next Gangsters. They had Luke as the next Shane Douglas. And like whatever other indie guy that was there, they was trying to make them the next ECW guy. Which, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's an okay concept, but the wrong thing to do is to try to make us the next them. We already have our name on the indies, so we're the first us, you know what I'm saying? So the thing to do was, it's okay, it's cool. Put the younger guys against the older guys, that's fine. But then allow us to just do our thing. Stop trying to make us be someone else. You know what I'm saying? That was another problem. That was another issue that like the wrestlers and management bumped heads on. And like again, man, it just all fell apart.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first show, they drew like almost 2,000 people. So, you know, they definitely could have capitalized on the opportunity, but it just, I don't know. They didn't really seem like they wanted to invest the money in the product.
Yeah, that's another problem. A lot of times, like the thing is, man, it's always egos, man. That's what usually kills things. Like if everybody would just be on the same page with the same idea, and the idea is to have a good product and to make money. If everybody could get on the same page with that, things would be fine. But like if you notice, man, more often than not, egos get in the way and like things just fall apart.
Yeah. Another question. How was it working with Super Dragon? Because I remember you did a match with him in the Kings of Wrestling.
I don't really know him all like that. I mean, it was years ago, and I mean, it was okay. I mean, like I knew what his character was. Like my character at the time was, I was still a little inexperienced, so I was just like the smaller guy that does a lot of flips and get thrown around. So I mean, when you think about it, it was just pretty easy.
Yeah.
But I mean, the times I've been around him, he was cool. I mean, he was all right, no problems or nothing. But you know, I guess I ain't really know the guy like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Boxman, you got another question?
Yeah. Right after that match with Ryback, you actually 6 days later also debuted in TNA against Mason Andrews, who was better known as Scorpio Sky. Just kind of wanted to know how that was, you know, being on those two big companies in 1 week and working with Scorpio Sky.
That was real cool, man. Like a goal of mine was always to get on TV, and when I accomplished it, man, it was a good feeling. With Scorpio Sky, I worked with him before, so I already knew him. So I already knew it wasn't going to be no problems there. Because again, man, like when you got good chemistry with somebody, it always works out. Like I thought that, like I thought it was going to lead to me, you know, maybe getting signed by TNA. It didn't happen. I mean, they brought me back a few times to wrestle, but it never led to anything regular, which is unfortunate. But it was a good experience, man. And like, I think I proved that I belong in a company that had TV. Like nobody can tell me that I didn't do good. Nobody can tell me that I didn't show that I belong. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I remember that match. It was good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Cause like the thing was like my goal when I went in there was to go in there and show that I have a character. Like anybody can go anywhere and just do a bunch of moves. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, like anybody can do moves, but when you go in and you show that you have a character and that you can talk, like fortunately enough, they let me cut a promo my first night in, and that was pretty good. So that was enough that made me think that was going to lead to something more. But, you know, like with wrestling, it's all about timing and opportunity, and a lot of times, who's going to, like vouch for you. So, you know, did my thing there. It didn't work out as far as like getting a regular spot, but who knows what the future holds, man. Like honestly, I'd like to work for TNA again, man. A lot of people bash them and all that, but I've been there to experience it, man, and I enjoyed my time there, and I do want to go back. I think I bring something good to the product.
Definitely, I agree.
I definitely think you'd be a good addition to TNA, but
absolutely.
I didn't see this footage, but I read somewhere that you worked for Big Japan Wrestling in sometime after CZW.
Yeah, with Big Japan, like when I first got into wrestling, like my only goal was to go to Japan, and I did it. So when I went over there the first time, man, it was like a dream come true. And with Big Japan, like I never followed Big Japan. Like I knew who a few of the guys were. Like of course I knew who Jun Kasai was and a few of the other guys. But like it was Japan, and it was my dream. So I just went over there and did my best. But like in there, like Big Japan, like they main market is death matches. I'm not a death match guy. So I mean, I had fun while I was over there, but it like Big Japan wasn't like my dream company to go to. But then at the same time, with it just being death matches, I think that like we could have did something marketable. And like I was the only black guy over there. They had no black guys over there. That's something that you can run with, and I'm saying draw some money with. But you know, like with a lot of companies in Japan, like they have their own mind state. Like they feel they know what works, and it's kind of hard to change their stance on a lot of things. So like I pretty much knew when I went back there the second time, I knew that like it wasn't going to be a regular thing. You know what I'm saying? But the money in Japan is good, so I just went over there, made my money, and did the best I could with what I was given. So it was a good experience. You know what I'm saying? I wish some things was different. Like one thing was I wish CZW would have sent me and Ruckus over there as a team, or me and Joker over there as a team, and we would have definitely killed it. But every time, like whenever we pitched those ideas, like they just wasn't trying to hear it. Not necessarily Big Japan, but CZW. I never understood why, man. A lot of it, I think that people, the guy that runs CZW, I think he felt that if me and Ruckus or me and Joker went over there and killed it, that Big Japan, we would have the influence of Big Japan, and he wouldn't have that influence. I think he worried that we would screw him over. But man, we businessmen, you know what I'm saying? And CZW was the place that pretty much gave us our start when you think about it. So there's no way that we would go to Big Japan, get that influence, and screw it up anybody else. Like our goal was to go over there, kill it, and make it so that the rest of the boys that actually know what they're doing could go over there. Like the goal at the end of the day is to make money. You know what I'm saying? And we could have did a whole lot with that working relationship, man. And like I don't even know if they still got that working relationship now. But a lot of things could have been way better. But you know, it happens, man. Like it's another one of those things where like egos come into play, and it screws up everything for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Now you were talking about death matches and CZW. And actually, you won the CZW heavyweight champion at the last Cage of Death last year against Biff Busick, Sozio, and Drew Gulak. And that was you guys brought the weed whacker in. You guys did every single move possible. So, you know, not being necessarily a death match guy, how was it working those death matches? And I mean, I watched that match. That you definitely deserve that title, man. After that match, I give it to you. But that was brutal to watch. I just want to know how it was to work that match and the weed whacker. Is it just? I mean, I know you didn't take that, but you know, just giving it to somebody else, just.
I mean, it was pretty cool, man. Like the thing is with that match, I've been in Cage of Death before, like none of the others have, so I already had experience in it. So I mean, just going in, and another thing was going into the match. A lot of fans online, they was bashing the match. They were saying that the match would be trash, it would be horrible because of the guys that was in it, like Gulak and Busick. They known as like technical wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? So people was bashing that. People was bashing me and Sozio, saying that we didn't deserve to be in it. But hey, man, so we all went in there with a chip on our shoulders. So we just went in there and we killed it. And the thing is, like, I wasn't originally the person that was supposed to be in the match. Like, Dickinson was supposed to be in the match, and he was supposed to win the title. But, like, the usual politics that happens in wrestling happened, and Dickinson wasn't around anymore. So I ended up in the story and in the match and ended up getting the title. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. That's what happened.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought up Chris Dickinson because he was on the show a couple weeks ago, and I was at CZW 16, so I watched that match, and we basically asked him about that match, and he said that you guys basically called an audible and changed the finish, but he basically said that you didn't want to do whatever he wanted to do, and he was supposed to get that title that night. I just want to get your thoughts on Chris Dickinson and basically what happened that night.
Yeah, I listened to it yesterday. I listened to a good interview.
Thank you.
Well, this is the thing, and thanks for giving us our props on that match, man.
Yeah, definitely, man.
This is what happened. Like that night, Dickinson wasn't supposed to win the title that night. Originally, like I said, he was supposed to get the title at Cage of Death, but politics came into play, and that's what screwed him over, as far as that goes. So then when they came back, and I mean, I got no problem with like I got no problem with pulling the curtain back and letting y'all know everything that took place. You know what I'm saying? Going into the match, my whole plan was to make Dickinson look the best as possible. And he would have made himself look good anyway because he knows how to work. He knows what he's doing. But in my opinion, man, CZW was not booking him properly. Like he was the most popular good guy in the company. And like CZW will book him in a way where like he would never win the big match. Like when you think about it, like everybody else that had the world title before I had it, they would defend against Dickinson, and CZW would never have Dickinson win the big match. I think when Masada was champion, I think he wrestled Masada and lost. When Gulak was champion, he wrestled Gulak and lost. He lost to Biff Busick too, I believe. So to me, like they wasn't helping his character. You know what I'm saying? Like Dickinson's character to me is a monster. You know what I'm saying? And you have to book a monster properly. CZW wasn't doing that. So my plan was to work together to make Dickinson look like a monster. And honestly, if the plan was for him to win the title, I had no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? It's just the belt is just a prop. If they felt that him winning the title would have been better, that's fine, no problem. Now, as far as the match goes, like what happened with the match was like you were there. You saw how the crowd was responding to things, and when the crowd doesn't respond to whatever the wrestlers call in the back, it's our job to call an audible. I got no problem with calling an audible. So what happened was, like I would say that we bumped heads as far as communicating the audible. I was fine with calling it audible, and obviously he was too. But we just bumped heads as far as communicating. And I think it comes down to we're both passionate, you know what I'm saying? We both alpha males, you know what I'm saying? So like we just bumped heads as far as the communication, and like things broke down a little bit and it fell apart. But like, you know, like those things happen, man. Like, I mean, that type of stuff happens to everybody, no matter what level in wrestling you in, you know what I'm saying? So it happens. But I can guarantee you this though, if me and Dickinson ever had another singles match, it would be a classic because we both know what we're doing. And like a lot of people bashed the match, saying it was bad. I mean, it could have been better, of course, but then there was other people that enjoyed the match because it came off as realistic to them, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of people that bashed it were the type of fans that they just so used to wrestling matches looking like ballet, as far as like everything seems so planned out, everything looks so perfect, and you know what I mean? But like it depends on your preference, man. Like we all know wrestling is a work. We all know wrestling is I ain't gonna say fake, but you know what I mean.
Right.
We all know. Yeah, but the thing is, man, like if you watching it and you want to believe that something could be real, in a real fight, nothing is perfect. You know what I'm saying? So, like I look at it like if people believe that a lot of the stuff that we did was realistic, then we did our job. You know what I'm saying? But again, man, if we ever wrestle again, it would be a classic.
See, and that's the thing. Like being there, I think that crowd was weird because I've been to plenty of CZW shows before, and you know that crowd was just acting weird the whole fucking night. It wasn't just that match, and you know that match was stiff as ever, man. I mean, those chops were probably some of the hardest chops I've heard in my life. Being there live, but I honestly I don't know why the crowd didn't respond to it because it seemed like Chris Dickinson was supposed to get the pop that night because they announced him from one night only being from the child from Philadelphia or whatever they said, but it just seemed like the crowd was just not reacting to him for some odd reason. But Jersey All Pro, man, I know you guys are both working there. I hope to see that match again, at least in Jersey All Pro.
Yeah, definitely
make that happen.
The thing with the crowd, like at the arena, that's how they always been. That's how they always been. Like that crowd, they just, I mean, you're a fan, man. You pay your money, you can react however you want. That's fine. But like a lot of times, man, guys will wrestle, and like if they haven't wrestled there before, like they get rattled, You know what I'm saying? That happens to a lot of guys that come in. But like that crowd has always been that way. That crowd is always going to be that way. And I mean, I never get pissed off when the crowd gets that way. I enjoy it, man. And like that, like I said, man, if the crowd not reacting to what you call in the back, you just gotta audible it up, man. And I enjoy doing that, you know. So you know, it happens. It is what it is, though.
Yeah. So since we're talking about crowd reactions, I know the Moonchild, CJ Parker, former NXT guy, is coming to CZW. How do you think the crowd is going to react to that guy?
I think
that's not your that's not your typical CZW guy, you know?
Yeah, and this is the thing. I think since a lot of fans like to try to make everything about themselves, I think when he comes out, a lot of them are going to start fucking. Can we curse on here?
Yeah, do whatever you want.
All right. I think a lot of crowd is going to start fucking with him to try to rattle him. And I seriously doubt that that's going to happen. I mean, like I'm not familiar with him at all. Like I don't know his history before he went to WWE. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But he was in WWE's system, so I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that none of those fans there are going to rattle the dude. So that's what I think is going to happen. Some of the fans that love NXT, I think they're going to show him love. But a lot of the fans that like to shit on everything, I think they're going to try to shit on him. Like a lot of them had an attitude like, okay, impress me. You know what I'm saying? That's the attitude a lot of the fans had. So I think the end result is going to be he's going to come in, he's going to do his thing, and then the fans that was shitting on him going to jump on his dick right away. And then a lot of them that's bashing him right now, they're going to say, "Oh, I never bashed him. I just said that he probably wasn't good." You know how that is, man. Like these fans, they trash people and then they jump on their top right away. So I think he's going to do good, honestly, man. And I mean, when you think about it, for where he's been at, he's coming in, and I'm pretty sure he has a good mind for it. Like he's not going to come in and want to do a bunch of stuff that makes no sense whatsoever. Like he's coming from a system where you're taught to tell stories and to sell and get your character over. So I think he's going to do fine.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. But that shows is this Saturday, right?
Yeah, this Saturday at the skate zone.
There you go. Check that out on and you can get the IP pay-per-view also if you're not going to be there live. But another match I saw live was you at Mask Mania, and it was Blackout and Homicide against Sabu, Damien 666 and his son Bestia. Right. And how was it working around that crowd? Because I was in that crowd, and I was probably one of the only ones that wasn't, of Hispanic descent in the crowd. So like the crowd was it was a lot of kids. It was just I'd never seen that at the arena. It was a different vibe to me. So I just want to know how it was working around there and working with guys like Damien and Sabu.
It was easy, man. I wrestled Bestia before, and like I've watched Damien and Sabu for years. Right. And the thing is, like, me, Ruckus, and Homicide, we've been wrestling for years. So we've been in a bunch of different situations, so we can handle ourselves in any situation. We've wrestled a whole bunch of different styles, so we able to adjust. And as far as like the crowd, like honestly, man, like with kids being in the audience and it being like a lucha type of atmosphere, like I wrestled for Chikara for years. So like I've been in that atmosphere before. And you know what I'm saying? Like I wrestled in Europe, I wrestled in Spain, you know what I'm saying? I wrestled in Mexico, so I'm familiar with the lucha. I'm familiar with it. So all it really was, we all go out there. We know what our characters are. We know who our opponents are. We know how popular they are. So like the whole thing was for us to just tell the story and get our characters over, man. It was a fun match, man. I had a good time, man. And like hopefully, I'm hoping that Mass Mania runs in Philly again, man. Because like to me, it was a good show, man, and it was cool. Like the whole atmosphere was good, the vibes was good. Like everybody was on the same page. It wasn't no egos there. And like you would think with all the different types of guys in the locker room that you would run into some ego problems, but it wasn't. Everything was all good.
Yeah, and that was the same weekend that Extreme Rising actually canceled two other shows. So that show. I had tickets to all of them, so I ended up not getting my money back from Steve O'Neill. But that aside, but it's Kevin Kleinrock. He's honestly a good dude. I'd like to see him do more shows at the arena, and they drew a decent crowd for all those cancellations. So That's definitely good. But speaking of Chikara, you actually ironically work with like guys like Ian Rotten. I think Madman Pondo I watched, and Necro Butcher and Chikara. How was it working with like deathmatch wrestlers and Chikara of all places?
It was cool. And back when I worked with that was like years ago, man. We worked with Pondo and Necro in that tournament. Yeah,
right.
Like it was easy because like even though I was less experienced then than I am now, like you know what Necro Butcher's character is. So and my character at the time, Fabian or whatever, I was the high flying guy, the smaller guy. They were the bigger guys. So like that's like a story that's easy to tell. Big guy, little guy, and you know I'm flying around and they hit hard. So it was just a matter of us just same as always, man. Just putting things together that make sense and just going out and doing it. And like with Necro, Pondo, and with Ian, like there's trust there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's trust. So when there's trust and everybody knows what they're doing, like more often than not, things are gonna come out good.
Right.
So that was pretty much what it was, man. Everything was all good with them.
Yeah. Any chance of being in the trios tournament this year?
Nah, I doubt it, man. I mean, like I don't really like. I did my time in Chikara and it was cool, but like honestly, man, I'm not interested in wrestling there. You know, it's just not for me. Like I haven't seen any of their shows in forever. I'm pretty sure they still got a fan base. They still popular, but as far as me personally, I don't have any interest in wrestling there anymore.
Yeah. Well, Boxman, you got any other questions?
Well, actually, I was going to ask about get back to TNA. Another time they brought you back was to work with Austin Aries. Just kind of wanted to ask how it was working with him.
The only time I ever worked with Aries was at CZW.
CZW.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, CZW. I'm sorry. It's been a long day for you, man.
No. Working with him was cool, man. And man, he's another guy that now I would like to work with him now because like when you think about it, man, like gets it done in the ring, like his promos are on point, like everything about the dude is money. Mm-hmm. So like now that's somebody that I love to like have like a long-term program with promos and matches. You know what I'm saying? I think me and him doing some work together would be money, man. Like hopefully if I go back to TNA, he's somebody that I'll do like a program with, man. Because that dude is good, man. That dude is really good.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. That would be good TV right there.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Definitely.
Yeah, even seeing you at Mass Mania, I can see you in like Lucha Underground. You know, that would be something.
Yeah. That's another that's another place that I love to work. I mean, like I talked to a few people there, so you know what I'm saying. You never can predict the future, man. But like, hopefully, my future is with TNA or Lucha Underground. Like, I mean, I still love the indies, man. I know, like on Twitter and all that, I sort of like come off a little angry towards the indies and all, but it's because like the indies now is like it's to me, man, like it's not enough generals on the indies anymore, man. Like in a lot of ways, man. Like a lot of the wrestlers these days, they come off like they playing wrestler. They're not coming off like actual stars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like my goal is to wrestle on TV, man. Underground or TNA. That's my goal, you know. So
most definitely.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, Blk Jeez, before you leave, man, anything else, any other shows, your Twitter, anything you want to plug in before we leave?
Yeah. Just follow me on Twitter at Jeez215. I always update what's going on as far as my schedule and all that, man. And, you know what I'm saying? The people that have been supporting me all these years, I appreciate it. The people that bash me and all that, I love that too, man. Because, like, you know, that when you negative and all, that's motivation right there, man. And I just love when people hate and throw that negativity my way and say that you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. I've been proving people wrong for years, man. And I'm just going to keep doing that. And then I love that, like, these people on the internet that just run their mouth like behind their keyboards. They talk all of this, and then I'm still doing my thing, and they just sit there all angry and mad, man, sitting there living at home with mom, angry about their life, pissed off that they never had goals or they're too scared to follow their goals, so they like to trash people. It's all good. Keep it coming. I love it. Like for the most part, all of us wrestlers love when y'all fans talk that negative stuff. Y'all think we get pissed off, but nah, we just playing y'all. We just working y'all. And, you know what I'm saying? I think y'all love to be worked. So keep it going, and we're going to keep doing our thing. And thanks for having me on the show, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the new kayfabe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, hey,